and welcome back to another episode of Pivotal Moment. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have got a treat for you today. If you want to start a business, if you've ever thought about starting a business, if you already have one and you want to take it to the next level, I have a entrepreneur, brand builder, connector, and growth driver here today on Pivotal Moment. Jeff Osuji is the founder and CEO of Eventnoire and a few other ventures that he's going to talk to us about today on the show. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here. And I want to just start off really quick with something that describes you so well that I read about you. And what you said was this: as a brand builder, connector, and revenue driver, your purpose is to scale digital solutions that improve quality of life for marginalized and underserved groups. That's a mouthful, but thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Eventnoire is a part of that platform. So tell me about and tell us about what that is and where the idea came from.
Certainly. So Eventnoire is the premier gateway for experiences that celebrate and embrace Black culture. A lot of people think of us as an event management platform. Think Wakanda meets Splash Dad. We're an event platform that really focuses on uplifting and elevating culture, right? And we talk about Black culture, whether it's hip hop, whether it's dance, whether it's just networking with, diverse individuals. We're open for everyone. We want to make sure that we keep diversity and equity and, Black culture at the center of these events. And it's really for folks like myself and others who really enjoy our culture, who want to find events that are just relevant for them.
Thank you. That is a really good, insightful answer, especially because the catalyst of what you're doing is rooted in helping people. And I think that's so important to longevity. And I want to ask you this because I saw you, this was a couple years ago, your company won a contest. You were being interviewed by Lala Anthony. Tell me about that particular event and its role and where you are now.
Yeah, so thank you so much to Pepsi and Mountain Dew. We won Pepsi's Mountain Dew's Real Change Opportunity Fund competition, competed against over 200 startups, and ended up winning #1 in the country, for the work that we're doing with Eventnoire, and so it was pretty dope. Lala was on the panel, DJ Envy, Morgan DeBond from Afrotech and Blavity, and so it was amazing to be able to get good feedback, but also see that people that you look up to and admire do see value in what you're building, and it just really let us know that what we're building was something special and that has the opportunity and the ability to really change and transform the world if we keep going.
You are transforming the world. Like when I see you up there, and I'm like, look at that. I mean, that is not only having the vision, but seeing the vision come to life, and that's what we need. And I'm so impressed by that and inspired by that. Or let me ask you this: did you ever expect the response that you've gotten? Did you prepare for this? Did you know this was coming, Jeff?
You know what? You never really expect a positive response. For me, I'm just used to keeping my head down and working, and I always knew that this was a plan that we wanted to implement. And so to see it being well received is amazing. We've been working, feverishly for years to really, get this response. So it's almost like when it happens, you don't really believe it.
You gotta pinch yourself, right?
Yeah. But then you also gotta, then make sure that you're living up to expectations, if not, exceeding them, which is always the goal.
Exceeding them. That's the key. I love that. And speaking of exceeding goals, how have you been able to maintain your momentum throughout this? Because I know you made it through COVID. In fact, I think you may have even excelled through it, which is a testament to your industry and your purpose and your impact. How are you maintaining the momentum, Jeff?
So for us, COVID was actually pretty tough on everybody in the event industry, but we saw a huge, I want to say, kind of relaunch of events. And so we've seen companies like Eventnoire, companies like even, the larger ticketing platforms have all seen an increase in revenue with more and more folks coming out and enjoying events. But the pandemic was tough for a lot of folks, and we focused on building community, hosting events online for our community. And so now we're just excited that we're kicking off our Start Engine campaign, which we're going to reward our community and folks who have supported us about enabling them to get a piece of the pie, which is something that we just wanted to do, was really allow our customers and folks who support us to have a seat at the table and be able to own a piece of Eventnoire as well.
So wait, tell me more about the particular campaign that you just mentioned. What does that mean and how does that fit into that? Could you just
Yeah,
give
so
us a little bit more detail?
so it's called crowdfunding, which allows a number of individuals to purchase shares within the company. And so there's a number of companies that are offer these shares and an opportunity to do this. We're working with Start Engine. There's also WeFunder, Seed Invest.
Okay.
We have a Start Engine campaign where you can purchase shares in Eventnoire for as little as $1 a share.
Oh, wow.
All the information is available on event on startengine.com for all the events there. So all the information there. So please feel free to go ahead and take a look at the terms and things of that nature.
We're going to add in what Jeff just shared at the bottom of the show notes. So after the show or during the show, if you want to hit pause, you can just go down and see everything that he said, as well as his contact info. We're going to give you all of that. We're going to give you the keys to the kingdom. So let me ask you this, Jeff, because I know people ask you this all the time. So I'm going to ask you again. What do you think, just based on your experience, is the most important part about not only starting, but maintaining your business?
The most important part of starting and maintaining your business is making sure that you have a business that is economically sound, meaning that you have the right margins built into your business. You understand how your business is going to make money and how you are able to push the levers that will allow you to continue to make money, right?
Yeah.
If you know your profit margins and you know your numbers, then you can know that, okay, if I do this, and that, I'm going to make this much money. And when you have businesses where you can kind of predict, and understand the inputs that get you the desired outputs, you then have a sound business that can scale. And I think that so many times you see people building businesses that are extremely hard to scale. And a lot of it is just really based upon passion or also not understanding the levers of your business.
Yes, preach.
And so the harder it is for your business to scale, the harder it's going to be for you to run your business. And that's one thing that, you don't often think about when you start a business. Think about passion, purpose. And
I was going to say, because people have an idea, they feel strongly, and then they just kind of jump out there. But it's about thinking and planning and building before you do, right?
Definitely. The more it's about preparation, meeting the proper opportunity. So you have to be prepared. And so at the end of the day, the more you know about your business before you even launch it, the better. The more research you do. You really want to measure 10 times and cut once. But again,
say that again. That's a good one. That is a philosophy. Say that one more time.
You want to measure 10 times and cut once, right? As opposed to just kind of rushing through and getting things on the market. You want to be able to understand as much as you can about what it's going to take for you to be successful prior to launch. Because oftentimes, once you put that capital down, once you launch that business, that brand, sometimes it could be too late. So just, moving strategically and in a calculated manner is important.
That is a gold mine, right? I think I'm going to write that down, in fact. And I want to ask you about measuring 10 times, cutting once. Is that a part of your daily approach when you are doing all the things that you are now doing? Like, do you have a certain approach on a daily basis to maintain your success? Like, what are you doing every day to make sure that it happens?
And all the advice I give is a part of what I'm going through every single day. So
right.
I'm speaking to, I had no idea what I was doing when I first launched my business. I just knew that I knew that there was a need for the solution that I was building because I was my own customer. I was somebody that looked at the space and said, man, I wish I could use this. Right. But in terms of what I do every single day, you get smarter and smarter about your business every day. I'm constantly reading podcasts, talking to investors, talking to other founders to figure out what they're doing to be strategic. And so something I implement is, these daily meetings with my CTO now that we just came on full time to really talk about the business from a more analytical perspective, looking at our metrics, figuring out which numbers we need to focus on, figuring out what we need to cover in our sales training meetings, and just kind of thinking about the business overall based upon all the data that we've been able to, get to understand our business. Your numbers don't lie. Your numbers tell a story. It's about being able to understand the story that your numbers are telling you. And it's a journey that goes on forever. So.
That is powerful. And you mentioned bringing on a new CTO. So are you still very involved in the daily operations? I know you have to delegate, but
100%.
are you still
Yeah,
very hands-on with everything?
100% Eventnoire
Okay.
is my focus, and so my CTO, he's been our CTO, but he's finally we were able to bring him on full time. We can now finally
Oh,
afford to pay him, thankfully. So
well, that's a blessing right there, right?
yeah. So we got to
That's
bring.
a blessing.
It's been wonderful.
So we talked a bit before, speaking about bringing people on board. We talked about kind of like your parents and their role in kind of bringing you from where you were to where you are now. And so I wanted to ask you about really their impact on your belief in what is possible. What
Yeah.
did they do that made you see what you now are doing?
Great question. So, I mean, my father and my mother came here from another country, from Nigeria, and to see them work themselves, up from fast food to become professionals and raising five children, coming to this country not knowing anybody was just remarkable. I can only imagine if I get travel somewhere else, and don't know anybody and had to figure out life and build a family in a whole new continent. It's not easy for anybody, but they taught us the importance of hard work and dedication. And
Wow.
also, if you would, my dad ended up earning a PhD. My mother ended up earning her nursing degree. Still working as a nurse, and so her work ethic alone to this day, you tell her to relax, she's doing double, triple over. She doesn't know how to relax. All she knows is hard work.
Wow. Wow.
And so that's something that she definitely instilled in me. We were both on the phone yesterday, like, you need to take a day off. She's like, you need to take a day off. We talk
You got that work ethic though, Jeff, right? You got that work ethic, that drive.
100%. The drive is everything. At the end of the day, some people are smarter than others. Some people are luckier than others. But grit and being the ability to do grunt work and not be scared of it is something that's super important whenever you're building a startup.
And even having that roadmap, I mean, to have, your parents come over and like you got a nurse, you got a PhD. I mean, like if your parents are killing the game, for lack of a better word, coming to a new country and being successful a lot of people come here, but they
But they
are
started
not
off
as
working. They
successful.
started off working fast foods. They weren't necessarily killing the game, and
But they
still.
started doing it once they got here. That just is
Yeah,
more of a
yeah.
testament to their power and their resilience.
Yeah, but even more so was the fact that it took them, 10, 15
Mhm.
years to hustle and
Wow.
raise kids while going through school, while
Wow.
writing dissertation, while studying for the NCLEX board and taking it 2, 3 times and failing it and then having to take it again and just going through that struggle. That determination is what really was instilled in me, was that you just can't let anything stop you from your destiny.
With those five kids. And where are you on the spectrum of the five kids? Oldest, youngest, middle?
I'm number 4 out of 5, so I'm
4 out
close to
of
the.
5.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. They're like, after this, one more, then we'll stop.
yeah.
And so let me ask you this, Jeff, because this show is called Pivotal Moment. And
Mhm.
we ask the guests or our guests, what was the moment that made the biggest difference for you? What was the game changer?
I want to say a game changer for us was definitely was winning Mountain Dew's Real Change Opportunity Fund competition. Only because at a time where you weren't making any money, but the world was starting to come back to events. We have been beaten up. I spent that whole summer talking to investors during the pandemic about events, which was not the right time to fundraise. And
How did those conversations go, Jeff?
I ranked up 100 no's. Okay, I
But
racked up
one
100
of
no's, but I also racked up at least 20 to 25, 20 yeses from people that knew me and believed in me. So it was important, for me to go through that, because at the end of the day, we've always been about community, and the people within our community understood the need for Eventnoire, and they were us afloat during the pandemic.
So the pandemic was very hard, as you mentioned, on a lot of businesses, especially those that are centered around events, as Eventnoire is. What is the most difficult part of what you do on a daily basis? You made it through the pandemic, but is there something now that gives you pause, gives you challenge, and how do you like confront it?
The hardest part is really managing people, I would say, because it's important that the world has to see your vision, but also your employees have to see your vision. And we're blessed to have some folks that are extremely hardworking, but every single day you have to motivate people, and you have to motivate yourself. You have to instill your vision and principles into other people, because otherwise the wheels of the company don't turn. Nobody can do it by themselves, no matter what they say. Everybody needs a solid team. And
That's
so
good.
daily figuring out how to motivate your team under your tutelage and how to make sure that you're setting a good example is a constant struggle I think every leader faces that we have to rise up to. But when you're running a startup, and it's your first time managing so many people at one time, you have to figure out, okay, am I managing people right now? Am I doing the necessary work? Am I talking to investors, right? You have your customers, then you have your investors, and then you have your employees. And these are all people that are essentially people that are your customers, because you have to service them and give them what they need to be successful and deliver value. So it's one of the toughest parts, just managing all the shareholders and not just investors, but the employees and
Yeah. You're wearing a lot of hats, Jeff, at the same time. Like you're a boss, but you're also a client, but you're also, a stakeholder, and all these things are evolving or revolving at one time. How do you
yeah.
know if you're being successful with respect to creating that kind of inspiration and momentum that you said you need to create?
Well, we have certain goals and metrics that we're tracking, but success, I think, is different for everybody. For me, it looks like being able to help people that depend on me, or being able to, go home and spend some time with my son and cut things off when I need to, but also being able to employ people that might not have had a job otherwise, or that are I'm seeing grow and seeing them grow in their skill set every single day, and seeing I'm a part of that growth is fulfilling. So to me, I think that I'm successful, and I'm just not at the level of success that I would like to be at, because I have great plans for Eventnoire and what it needs to be. And so you're successful, I would say, when you're positively impacting those around you and you're adding value to those around you consistently.
I remember in a prior interview that you said, in terms of adding value consistently, you talked about wanting to be able to give value to other people through giving them a job, through opening up career pathways, and you've been able to do that. And so that, I feel like, is a giant step in the right direction, right? I mean, what better way to support your culture than to employ people?
Man, I'm telling you, that was one of the reasons why we started. I remember, we host events downtown and other venues, and the bars would ring $50,000, $40,000. And the people that were getting tips, none of them looked like us, right? We weren't able to bring in folks that look like us to handle bottle service or to serve the customers, right? And so I felt a certain way that we were hosting events at these venues that were just kind of, felt like they were doing us a favor, when we were literally bringing them in thousands of dollars, and it was all going back to their ecosystem. And so that was a big thing for us, was, okay, how can we recycle some of these dollars back into our community that are consistently leaving? Because if you give a young teenager a job, it's very unlikely he's going to be out in the streets causing problems. At the time, I remember being 14, I used to get in trouble a lot as a kid. And I remember, wanting the new Jordans and wanting clothes. I got my work permit 2 years early and started working, right? And
wow,
so I ain't had time. Yeah, I was 14. I said, I got my first job. I was making $5.15.
That was your first job. Where at?
It was at a miniature golf course. I was at working the batting cages, on the side of Chicago. And so it's like, if kids have jobs, I think it's a big solution for a lot of the problems that are happening. People have opportunity to make money and take care of their families. They don't have to, resort to other ways to make funds. They don't have time for BS. So it's big. It's big for me to be able to help employ people and be able to be a part of their career trajectory, for sure.
That is a game changer. You are a pivotal moment for someone else through what you do. I mean, that's everything. And so let me ask you about, have you throughout this process learned something about yourself, Jeff, that you didn't know throughout this, business building and building businesses for others as well? What have you learned about yourself in the process?
100%. I've learned that I work best when I have people to bounce my ideas off of. And so I'm somebody that is, when I decide on something, I'm very set, but it takes me a little more time than sometimes to make up my mind. And I like to do an internal analysis, but also it's very important to do an external analysis with folks that are whose opinions I respect. And sometimes that delays my process and force me to go slower. And I used to, but it's good to slow down. It's good to slow down. It's good to be more strategic. And so, I'm not somebody that enjoys enjoys slowing down and discussing certain you need to be surgical in business. That's what I learned. You need to be very surgical in business. And I'm more of I want to say, I didn't used to like to get into the weeds of business, and now I enjoy it. And that's something I had to learn about myself, was that it's important to get into the weeds, understand your numbers, get your metrics. It's the most important thing. And so I'm somebody that's more of a, not as, top level. I like to lead people. I like to
like big picture, not necessarily all the details.
I'm a visionary, and being a visionary is important.
Right.
But it's just as important that you're a visionary that understands and delivers on the important details and the metrics. Those small details can get you in business. So
the surgical part of it, because you got to have one person to have the vision, but you need to have the detail-oriented people to carry it out and to know when you're off the vision.
The vision cannot be executed without attention to detail, without systems. And so I was not a systems person ever, and I'm working on becoming one.
It's a process. It's a process.
Yeah, admittedly. I mean, hard work without strategy isn't going to get you where you need to be if you're trying to scale a business.
Yeah.
So that's
Wow, that's wisdom right there. Wisdom. Thank you for that. And so let me ask you about, we talked a little bit about kind of like people wanting to start a business and the kind of advice that you give them, and people maybe not understanding the scale of things and planning beforehand, and the mistakes that you can make there. But then there are folks who say, I really got this business, but I don't have enough money. I really got this business, but I don't have enough time. I already got this business, but I don't have enough resource to put into it. Like, what do you tell them?
People who have a business, but they don't have enough money to run the business, I would say two things. One, get yourself investor ready and make sure your business is investor ready, which means that you have the right margins, you've done the proper research, you know how to put together your pitch deck. Or two, start a business that doesn't need an investment, right? And I've worked and or started businesses that didn't need investments. I've also worked and started businesses that did need them, right? Access to capital is important. But if you can start a business with enough strong margins, or enough, ability to leverage, you don't need an investor. You don't need capital, right? Eventually you will need capital, but there's businesses that you can start with no money down.
Yeah.
Businesses, I'm reading a podcast called The Game right now, and he talks about all these different ways to start $1 million business.
Wow.
One way is just to sell stuff. One way is just to be a middleman and sell things, right? Or offer a service, right? That's free for you to offer. So it's essentially two ways: get investor ready, which it takes a while to do. It takes a lot of due diligence and homework to do, or build a business that doesn't require.
It doesn't require one. Yeah. So when you're building a business that doesn't require one, are there particular sets of rules that apply if you are looking for an investor versus a business that doesn't require one, or is it the same kind of momentum that you need for both?
There's still you need certain things for your business to be successful no matter what, right? You need to have the ability, work ethic, right? The ability to influence folks, the ability to sell, right? These are all things you're gonna have to have regardless. But there's fundamental differences in businesses that require a lot of capital versus in service businesses. If I decide today that I want to start a shoe cleaning business, right? I could start cleaning shoes with no money down. All I gotta do is call some people on the phone and clean their shoes, right? Seriously, like you don't need funds. You get paid.
You can self-propel.
Exactly, you can self-propel. Right? If you're starting a software business, you might need capital unless you hire or co-found with an engineer that can build out the app for you, right? And give him equity. So there's definitely differences in how you move depending if you have a very capital intensive business or not. And I think that it's all about what you want what kind of business you're looking for, right? There's some people that build one widget and they sell it the same thing over and over and over again. And because they only have to build once, they might need capital up front, but then the margins are so great that it makes complete sense. But it might not be, as $1 million, probably might need 100,000 to build out what you're doing. There's certain folks that have to produce inventory that they're selling. So that's extremely capital intensive. So me personally, for anybody that's out there and doesn't have a lot of capital, you might want to stay away from certain businesses that require you to hold a lot of inventory, that require you to have a brick and mortar store. They require you to have to be there, right? You don't want to trade your time for money. Instead, you want to be in a position where you can start something and the margins are so great that you can sell it to other people. Or most importantly, which I didn't know, you build a product that's so damn good that people speak about it and just talk to others about it, and you create a great network effect.
That's your advertising right there. People are advertising for you.
If your product's good enough, people advertise for you.
Which leads me to my next question about it, and maybe that's the answer. I was going to say, what do you know now that you wish you had known sooner? Is that the answer?
What do I know now that I wish I would have known sooner?
Yeah.
You need to build relationships with investors before you approach them for money. You need to build relationships with your customers before you approach them with a product. I always was big on relationships, but relationships are truly, truly, truly everything. True.
Wow. I mean, you could drop the mic right there. Do you do business seminar classes? You do a master class on starting your business? This is really, really good.
I haven't done that yet. I'm focused on building business now. Once I build my business and I, have a successful exit, then that stuff, I have time for that. But hey, one day.
One day. Okay, well, let me ask you this. What is the best part? What do you enjoy most about what you do? We talked about being able to hire people, but is there something that gives you great joy or great reward in this process that you could say?
Yeah, we rewarded tens of thousands of dollars, if not probably six figures now, back to folks. This returns from their ticket events. So like from just incentives and royalties. So for me, when I can work with somebody, teach them a little about event marketing, which is a passion of mine, and then help kick them back, with incentives and royalties for using Eventnoire, we create a relationship where I'm able to help them make more money, and I'm able to help have them benefit from using our platform. So the best thing for me is when I sit down with these folks who are like myself, influencers that are moving people every single day and just love putting together great experiences, to see how passionate they are. And then also see that, okay, there's some tools we can add and help you with, whether it's investing in your event, right, through our partnership with Urban Venture Fund, or whether it's just making sure you make more money from your event with the royalties that we provide. Or if it's just you having a national presence now because we've sent a message out about your event in our national newsletter, and now people are hearing about it. So just helping people scale their businesses is important to me, and it's very rewarding for sure. And just build relationships with dope people that are doing dope things all over the world.
And it's like attracts like, right? It's almost cross marketing. You're helping these great companies, and these companies now are attached to you, and kind of like it all works together. You're hitting all the corners of the globe, so to speak. So in the process of making the impact that you're making, is there something or someone that inspires you on a daily basis?
100%, 100%. My wife definitely inspires me. She's somebody that she recently launched her own dental practice after just working for 2 years as a dentist. And so for her to have my son, my junior, and then within 6 months of having him purchase a dental practice and start running her business is completely inspiring. Seeing the entire
the power couple, the Beyonce and Jay-Z. I said that before. I'm saying it again.
Hey, I ain't got Jay-Z money, but hey, one day.
Little JJ. I love the couple. I love the partnership. And tell me more about your wife's business and how basically you're able to work together to make this is kind of like an empire you're building. Tell me more.
Well, yeah, so my wife opened up Designer Smiles in Evanston, formerly Official Dental, in November. And so it's a full general dentistry practice. They do cosmetic to full mouth reconstructions, implants, veneers. It's in the heart of Evanston, right in downtown. And so just amazing people that she works with, and shout out to Dr. Fisher, who's built a great legacy already. Evanston, right by the city, y'all. If you're in Chicago, it's not too far. So you can just pop up north and head over to Designer Smiles. But yeah, she started her own practice, and she went to the #1 dental school. Seeing her through that journey and just the grind the way she did is completely inspiring for me. So
that's what you talk about, synergy. And tell her we need her on the show too. So if you can have her people to call your people and get her on here, so we can tell people about that. Who doesn't want to smile more with the great smile?
It makes a big difference, man.
Yeah.
She made me fix my teeth when we were dating. I do it. I'm glad I did. I fought back on it, but she made me fix them, and I did it. And it makes a difference. It makes
You got a good woman. She gonna help you be your best.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. I definitely want her to come on the show though too. But and let me ask you this: as we talk about your partnership and the partnership that you guys are doing together, is there somebody that you want to work with or partner with Eventnoire and your other ventures that you haven't worked with yet?
Yeah, it's a couple people I want to work with for sure. A couple folks I look up to and I want to work with. One of them is Steve Stout. I've always followed him. I've been an advertising guy and was always really inspired by the way that he's worked with brands and really blended them with the culture to add value to these $1 million brands and recycle dollars back to influencers and curators who really put on for the culture. So Steve Stout is one guy.
Okay.
Louis Carr, great brother.
Mm.
Kind of grown into somewhat of a mentor for me. He uses Eventnoire for Blueprint Men's Summit. Went to the same high school as me, just a great advertiser legend that's not only put on for the culture, but also understands business. And then, I'm gonna speak into existence, Jay-Z and Diddy one day. We'll make something happen.
Talk about it.
It's we always you the closer, the more you work and the more success you have, closer to the folks that are handling business the way that you do. And so I believe that we'll eventually do some business together.
I mean, no doubt that it will happen. Like when I saw you and Lala Anthony, I was like, wait a second. And then you guys did was it the weekend event for the the NBA All-Star Weekend a couple years ago? So you were already moving and shaking, right? Tell me about that, because I meant to mention that.
So, NBA All-Star Weekend 2020 was in Chicago. And
right.
And so that was actually one of the biggest weekends that we had on the platform. There were so many different events on the platform. And so that was
killing the game, Jeff. Can I say that was killing the game, right?
No, it was amazing. But then, last February we were in Salt Lake City, and we were partnered with Hornitos Tequila and did a activation, and so it was kind of full circle. Been able to build a deeper connection with DJ Envy since then. And so, we stay busy. And again, I believe in manifestation. I believe that if you keep doing the work, you're gonna be in the right rooms with the right people.
And you are, and people are saying the Eventnoire name, so then people know about you. It's not only who you know, but who knows you, right?
100%.
So let me ask you this, Jeff. What would people know? I mean, you're there. We see you on the media interviews and things like that. But what would people be surprised to know about you that we don't know yet?
Man, what would you be surprised to know about
me? Yes.
I would say that some of my favorite thing to do right now, like I'm a very social person. I love people. I love being around people. During the pandemic, I was the guy like still trying to be around everybody, like, hey, back up. But I would say that I really love my solitude now, and I really value it sometimes now. Like I really like being by myself in my thoughts. Being on a plane right now is my favorite thing to do. Phone's off, nobody's texting you, and I live deep in my thoughts. And I just end up writing down long notes about business or ideas that I have or things that I want to do or manifest. And so, although I love people, I feel like nowadays I'm like extremely, extremely finding my peace when I'm by myself, just in my thoughts. And I think amazing things can happen when you just shut everything off and just spend time with yourself. So, people know people know I be out. I like to be out. I like events. I like, folks, but really, really loved being in my thoughts.
But you know what, Jeff, I gotta tell you, and I don't know if it's because of the pandemic, but I have heard people say just that. Like even folks who are, extremely extroverted, like having that space and that place to be still and get everything in alignment and to even identify the things that you didn't know were there is unmistakable in terms of its purpose and its power. And so I totally, totally respect that. And especially probably because you are so introvert or extroverted, you need that time to recharge, because the world takes a lot out of you.
Necessary. It's so necessary. You got to recharge.
Yeah.
I worked in last year. I mean, I think by right after Christmas, my body just kind of shut down on me. Yeah. And I was like, man, I just had to sleep for like 3 days. You got to recharge. You got to reset. You can't be on 10 at all times.
You cannot, because all the people that have pulled from you and made you, now at your 4, now they're at a 10, and because they didn't suck all the life out of you, so you got to recharge. What is there that we have not talked about, Jeff, that you think would be especially important to share?
Man, we got 30 days left in our Start Engine campaign. So invest in Eventnoire. Again, it's a great opportunity. Crowdfunding, I think, is really going to revolutionize, generation for underserved communities, wealth generation for underserved communities. The ability to be able to invest. You don't necessarily have to have $1 million. So you can invest in Eventnoire today on Start Engine. If you host events, you might as well own shares in the platform that you're going to use. At the end of the day, we often don't get opportunities to invest pre-seed in a lot of these startups that grow. And so it's an opportunity for folks to come on board. Outside of that, visit Wifey at Designer Smiles, get your teeth done. Other than that, man, hey, God is good. He's working. I'm excited to keep, to be alive and be able to help folks that I love and, really pour into a passion of mine, which is, events and helping people scale and Eventnoire. So also, bam, TechChicago week is coming in July, y'all. Eventnoire is the official ticketing platform for TechChicago week.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yep, shout out to P33, Desiree, Claude, Lucy, everybody over there, Rebecca. Excited to work with them this year. We're going to make TechChicago week one of the biggest weeks ever in Chicago. And so people want to travel from all over the country, and we're excited that Eventnoire is going to be a part of that. So.
And when is it? Tell us the date.
It's the second week of July.
Second week of July.
Last year, Pusha T came in and did a surprise performance.
Wow.
It was amazing. This year, we're going to have a lot of talent. We're going to have a lot of great events. We're inviting folks to host events as well. And so just get ready. TechChicago week is going to be huge. And I just want to thank everybody at P33 for supporting Eventnoire. It's going to be amazing.
Amen. To the top, to the top, to the top. Well, thank you so much, Jeff, for sharing your vision, the mastermind behind so much that we see and we'll see more of. Congratulations. And we will talk with you soon on your next venture. You'll come back and tell us more. Thank you for listening and watching on another episode of Pivotal Moment. I'm your host, Nikita Foston. We will see you next time.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.